I think some of y'all do need to go to jail. That's it. It's 14:30 and some of y'all need to go to jail. All right. So, first, before we get on with today's video, uh, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that did watch the last episode, Why I Left Twitter, and supported it. I got a lot of good feedback, especially since that was kind of like my contribution to Mental Health Month. Um, and me talking about my story, people sharing this stuff. Like, I really appreciate y'all, supporting it because YouTube decided to hit the video with the shocking content label because in the intro, I said one bad word. And because of that one bad word, not even really that bad of a word, but because of that one bad word, YouTube said that I can't promote and I couldn't get a lot of visibility to make sure I got, more eyes on the video because of that one word in the intro. So, just to give y'all a heads up, I'm definitely going to try to keep it as clean as possible. Um, just to make sure we don't run into that stuff again. It's been a minute because before I was doing interviews, um, so it's been a minute, and YouTube has made a lot of policy changes that I kind of had my head in the sand, didn't really pay attention to because I thought I was done with this kind of videos, so I didn't really think I needed to pay attention. But we're gonna try to keep it as clean as possible, um, just so I don't, you know, upset. I'm trying to find a clean word there just then, so I don't upset YouTube's policies and stuff like that. Also, I'm wearing a hat and a hoodie because I haven't gotten a haircut in a while, and I'm trying to hold out for homecoming. I think homecoming at the time of recording is still about 2 weeks away. So we're gonna see how long that lasts. But speaking of the hat, you gotta take a look. This is some merch from the guy who made a Monster album. Just a cheap little plug. I'll put the link in the description if you want to cop one and support your boy. Um, if you don't got the bread right now, that's fine. You can also support me by liking this video, sharing it, and subscribing to the channel. Yada yada yada, the usual YouTuber shit. All right, but let's get into today's topic. So why do I say some of y'all need to go to jail? Um, well, this topic came up because of the Christmas parade, killer, like the guy that drove his car into a bunch of, senior citizens, even a child was killed. It's like late last year when this happened. Uh, and the thing that's irking me, right? Because the internet, like I said in the last video, make sure y'all watch that, by the way, if you haven't. Um, like I said in the last video, you like social media in general, but Twitter especially, could take something evil as that and make a joke out of it. I remember the other dude. I was looking it up before getting on the video, but I can't remember the exact case. But you've probably seen him. Um, People on TikTok right now are using the video of the guy in court. Like, he was a crazy dude. Same scenario where he's defending himself. He doesn't want legal counsel. Um, and he's just wilding. He's just wilding. It's just all one big act for this dude. Like, he's trying to get the insanity plea, I think, or something. Either he was trying to get the insanity plea, or he just knows I ain't getting out of this, and he just decided to make a mockery of the whole situation. Just the one little last narcissistic move to keep the attention on him. Uh, you know, Away from the victims. That kind of bullshit, right? Um, so yeah, and I just remember seeing the jokes before I found out dude killed, I think, his baby moms and their children, or a few of their children, or something like that. it fucked up. But people were taking it even after knowing the specifics and the facts of the shit. They still took it and made the jokes because it's social media. Niggas gonna get their jokes off. That's just what you do. Uh, I still didn't feel good about it though. And I'm seeing the same thing with this guy. And but beyond the jokes, because hey, people are gonna make light of the end of the world. People have already said it. The meteor is gonna be coming, heading towards Earth, and everybody's gonna get those last few jokes off before everything blows up and goes into smoke. Goes up in smoke. Um, so yeah, that's you're beating a dead horse by that point. There's no point. There's no point in even really bringing that part up. But I actually see people. I don't know about the other guy. I wasn't really following it other than the antics. But with this particular dude, this guy that drove into a crowded parade and killed elderly people and children at a Christmas parade because he was fleeing a domestic violence situation that he was the perpetrator of. That's people that are actually coming out into support of this dude. I mean, I see some of the argument where it's, oh, he doesn't need prison. He needs like mental health counseling. He needs some type of mental health service that help him work out what he's going through. And it's a nice sentiment, but I think it's a little too late. This country has a terrible history of dealing with mental health. So I get it. It sucks. You have a guy that maybe if somebody would have got to him sooner, all of these lives that have been impacted, the lives lost, even the domestic violence situation, all of that stuff could have been undone. All of that stuff could have been prevented, right? But that's a what if. That's a if we could go back and change things. But the problem is we can't go back. That's the problem. Problem is we can only deal with the here and now. And unfortunately, bruh has hurt a lot of people and need to be held accountable for it. But because of, like I said, it's the history of this country when I was talking about mental health. Also, because the guy's black, we tend to, before hearing the facts, before understanding exactly what happened, what he did, especially now in the age of social media, when you get a lot of people speaking in this little echo chamber and us, repeating the same shit over and over again. And yeah, keeping this video clean, by the way, is gonna be tough. Just to put that out there. Uh, we get to talking amongst ourselves, and then the conversation just gets bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, everybody completely goes into this whole other direction that they need to. Every black man, to quote Huey Freeman, every black man who is being accused of a crime is not Nelson Mandela. There are countless. I mean, hell, every week I feel like I get online or watch the news or whatever. Don't really do that, but I go on news websites and stuff, and I feel like every week, almost. I actually just kind of slowed down a little bit, but it felt like for like a couple years straight, every week I would see a story about black man being released from prison after being falsely accused of a crime that he did not commit because of evidence tampering, DNA evidence that was not, allowed in the court. Just a bunch of BS. The system basically being constructed to, put these guys behind jail, whether it was racism, which we all know, is definitely the number one answer. Sometimes it's lazy cops. Cops saw a dude walking down the street, said, let's pick him up. We really want to do our job, basically. We just found a dude. We punked them out. We not punked them out. That's disrespectful. Um, we intimidated them. We harassed them. We did everything in our power to get a false, inaccurate confession. And we put this dude behind bars and ruined his entire life. And then, they can get the settlement, but if I get $10 million and I'm 80, does it really matter at that point? And I've been in jail since I was 40, 30. Sometimes people have been in jail since they got out of high school, just getting out of high school. And they've been locked up for centuries. I mean, not centuries, God, decades. Yeah, I messed that up. For decades, their whole life is gone. And you gonna give me this money. I mean, my family will benefit from it, so that's cool. But that heals they hurt. It don't heal mine. I mean, I could live out the last few years I got and have some fun. But man, that does not make up for decades behind bars. So I get it. And then we all know how the media could turn every little thing like a famous black person. You take a famous black person or a black person in leadership, any little thing that they could do to discredit your credibility, they will drive it into the ground. And then you got their white counterparts. I've always looked at, the Me Too movement was cool. You know what I'm saying? It was very necessary because there was a lot of people suffering in silence that didn't need to be suffering in silence. And there were people that got held accountable. But, unless I'm wrong, because I just saw Kevin Spacey uh, just got off. I don't know if that's all of them. Like, if I don't know if he's I don't know if he still has some other pending cases, or because there was a few accusations. It wasn't just the one, but there was one recently. He just got let off, and there's already talks of his comeback. And I don't really see that when it comes to maybe like somebody like a Cosby or R. Kelly, somebody like that. When they get wrapped up in their stuff, which again, they need to go to jail. R. Kelly especially. Like, I'm looking at y'all crazy. There are people outside of his courthouse, the courthouses where he's making his court appearances. There's people that still like going crazy. Like, yo, I still want to listen to music. Like, y'all not gonna take away R. Kelly's music from me. And I think you misunderstand, right? I mean, I'm gonna be real. You come around me bumping R. Kelly, it's gonna be just a little awkward for me. I don't want to hear it. But that's the thing. It's my personal choice. Like, if I go to a party and they just refuse, like if they just playing R. Kelly, and if it was really getting to me like that, like if I was somebody that really got bothered by just his music being played in my presence, I could go, and then I could just, you know, because then that's when the conversations are gonna happen. People are gonna go, "Wow, you really gonna like dip out on this whole party just because you playing R. Kelly?" And I'm like, because I want to. You know, you got people that are victims of domestic violence, uh, people of sexual assault and things like that. Maybe they don't want to listen to R. Kelly. Did you ever think of that? Like, and it's cool at this point, bro. Listen to them do music, support him, buy the albums. If he gets out of jail and he decides to do a concert after serving what 30, 40 years, and he still want to get out there and perform, if he's not already dead, just go do it, bro. I don't care. The problem is you're upset because I'm not going to do it with you. You're upset you because of this perception of this guy and what he did. And he did it because of this perception that a lot of people have, and because of how other, like, the majority of people feel about this dude and his music and his legacy. You feel like because you don't care for one reason or another, you have to constantly defend your choice of supporting them. And whether it's him, whether it's this other artist that has been all over the news because of his antics, talking about specific groups of people, giving black people his behind the kiss for years because of his very controversial, conservative, right wing, white supremacist viewpoints. You know who I'm talking about. I've already decided I'm not talking about you know who. I'm not gonna talk about him anymore. I'm not gonna do a video on it. You know who I'm talking about. If you know, you know, and if you don't, good, because it doesn't matter. It never did. But because of their celebrity status, you automatically put them in a position of leadership. And I think that's where the issues come, you know? Like if those same words came out of the mouth of somebody that worked at McDonald's or that I don't know, worked at your local bank or something like that, would you still be defending such and such the same way? Or if you was never a fan of their music, or you was never a fan of them as a ball player, or if you was never a fan of their movies or nothing like that, would you be the same? Would you feel the same way? For some people, yeah, just because they black, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it no more. Like, people hate the word accountability, but accountability is a real thing. And when we could compare, like, oh well, why did such and such only get 8 months, and then my man's over here, my brother got 15, 20 years, and I'm like, yeah, we can address that, but also say, do need to get locked up, do need to get locked up, and we need to do something about, actually, hey, put all of them niggas under the jail, put all, the white dude that did the same, the Harvey Weinstein, need to get the same amount of time that Bill Cosby got. R. Kelly need to get the same amount of time that Kevin Spacey should be getting. It don't matter. Like, I mean, that it does matter. I would say that. I won't say that it don't matter. But what doesn't, it doesn't automatically make them, it doesn't automatically make them innocent. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be locked up. Oh, this dude got off, so my man's need to get off. No, because that's not going to help him. And that's my biggest part, is that the thing that makes it so frustrating for me is not just because of the lack of accountability. It's because you don't really care. It's kind of like when you think about OJ, right? Back in the day, people didn't cheer for OJ getting off. They cheered for a black man getting off and getting over on the system. But we didn't care about OJ. I heard people say all the time, like, yo, I didn't care about OJ. Like, OJ get hemmed up right now, nobody cared. It's just the fact that it was this high profile case. Johnny Cochran was involved, and we got to see a black man get a victory after seeing Rodney King, who was, unjustly given nothing. He was beaten by the police, and it was caught on camera, and everybody saw it. But the cops still got off with slaps on the wrist and nothing else. They got desk duty, they got paid leave or whatever, and they got off. And we see it all the time with cops. Like, we see unarmed black men and women being killed by the police, and it sucks, and I'm sorry. And it had to be a blatant situation like a George Floyd for people to finally start getting locked up. And even then, I don't think it's enough. Of course it's not enough. That's one out of hundreds at this point of people who are being killed by the police all the time, or being shot and wounded, or being locked behind bars. I understand that the system is corrupt, it's fucked up. But at the same time, if you believe that there is a system that is, designed to keep us all, under wraps and locked up, why support the dudes that make that claim that much harder? Why support the dudes who are killing just as many of us, men, women, and children, as these police officers, and doing it not out of self-defense, not out of fear for their life, but just because they out of their fucking mind? And why support celebrities and things like that that really only play the race card, only want your support when they hemmed up? If you really cared about these people, if you really cared about these people getting what they needed, then you would let them go to jail. You would let them get the help that they need. You wouldn't just keep them around because of a symbol of what they mean to you. You wouldn't keep them around just because they're famous or you want to keep seeing them in movies and playing basketball or football or whatever sport or making the music you like. You wouldn't keep them around, keep them from facing accountability from the stuff that they obviously need to be brought to justice for. And if you really care, you wouldn't support black men and women regardless of their status, regardless of how you think the system is corrupt. You wouldn't support black men and women whose victims are also black men and women. That's why I think some of y'all need to go to jail. Because, yeah, the system is jacked up, but what's even more jacked up is to think that to make sure that one person doesn't get held accountable, go to jail, deal with the consequences, that there are victims that are just going to have to sit there and deal with it. Either way, we lose. But yo, that's my time. Make sure y'all tune in for the next episode of 1430. Thank you for watching. Until next time, much love.